There's really no way of getting any easy footage for this game, so I won't make any false pretense suggesting as much. And that's because Pretense is a metagame. And no, not that metagame. It's a game that's meant to be played over the course of a game night while you're still participating in other potentially more engaging and complex games. The game is $10 retail, but your best bet finding it in store is through Walmart of all places. Likelihood is you'll need to find it online in some capacity. The game comes with 24 roll cards, tokens for each roll, and a rule sheet. That's it. My copy of the game may look a little different, and that's because I actually kickstarted this game some time ago, a few years back actually. I did a bit of research and I couldn't find my version of the game available anywhere online, which is something of a shame, as I think the wallet format of the game box, as it were, is a much more convenient and interesting look to the game overall. Don't get me wrong, this game is still beautiful. The art on these cards are actually really nice. It's kind of impressive, actually, in terms of how detailed yet stylistic they all are. It adds some nice artistic flair to some seemingly mundane actions. At the start of a game night, players will be given a roll card secretly, 2 if you're playing with 6 or less players. In the case of the latter, players will choose one to keep. After the discarded cards are accounted for, tokens can be laid out showing which rolls are in the game. Each player's roll card dictates a goal for them to accomplish over the course of the night. The glutton, for instance, requires that you trick someone into passing you food or drink, preying on the kindness of others for your own personal gain. If you succeed in doing this at any given point, you reveal your roll card and take the roll that the other player previously had, knocking them out of the game. Your previous goal card is reserved as a victory point. However, if you are being too obvious about what role you have, players can accuse you of having that role. When accused, a player immediately reveals their card to everyone. If the accuser was right, the person who was accused is knocked out of the game. If the accuser was wrong, however, the accuser relinquishes their role to the accused and is out of the game. In both cases, the card the accused person previously had is discarded and removed from the game and is not counted as victory points. And that's it. At the end of the night, whoever has the most victory points to their name wins. The game suggests that it can be played with 2 to up to 24 players, really, as long as you've filled out those extra roll cards. But I struggle to justify playing this with such a small or high player count. I've played it with groups of roughly 10 or 12 exclusively. Now, Pretense is definitely a really interesting concept, and it has some great features within the game in terms of its design, in terms of the cards that you're given. The boxes, whichever one you get, is very compact and easy to carry. As I said before, I love the idea of the wallet, but the box works just as well considering that it has those tokens in it. But that being said, you really need an excuse to bring this out, and I say this because over the last 3 years or so that I've had it, I've only played it a handful of times. And no, that's not because I only have so many board game nights. I have 2 board game nights now on a weekly basis. The issue is that Pretense just kind of feels like this weird irritation rather than a game. Well, I mean, first you need to have a board game night at all. You need to have that excuse, and not everyone has that. So in and of itself, this feature will reduce the amount of times you play this exponentially. And then there are those evenings where people will just grow tired and bored of it, and they'll forget that they're playing, or they won't even try. And I think a large portion of that is it has to do with what roll card they get. There are certain roles that have certainly turned people off of the game. Some other notes that I have is that I feel like the cards like the Maid that requires you to knock out a specific player of your choice is incredibly unfair and a egregious mechanic to be including within the game. And ultimately, this game is just a big disruption. You're interrupting other games in order to announce, hey, you know, I completed my role, everyone look and see. It's annoying, it's not engaging, everyone forgets about it by the end of the night, people stop caring very quickly. If any group of people was to like this game, it would be people who have board gaming groups on a weekly basis, but even then I feel like the role cards would become too familiar too quickly, and you wouldn't get much playtime out of this at all. I wish this game was better. I like the concept, I love the wallet container, I wish those were more readily available. I love the art. I think the idea is very good. It just wasn't implemented well. So what do you all think? Is this game as bad as I suggest, or have you played it and find yourself playing it again and again? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw here. Thanks very much, and I'll see you all next week.